discriminated upon except one thing. What is it?
Chicken.
No.
Sorry. I thought everybody.
Homelessness does not discriminate. Families of all shapes and sizes, including different races, struggle with the devastation effects of being homeless. I'm going to tell you about how every year, according to NashvilleHomeless.org 2011, 600,000 families with 1.35 million children experience being homeless. That's 50% of our homeless population, which is crazy. Homelessness is always going to be around. It can happen to any one of y'all. It might have. And who knows, your family could become the next victims. One little medical emergency, like a car crash caused by tweeting what you had for lunch, or a financial mistake you did from not repaying back your student loan. Even an illness in a family can make y'all lose the one place you call home. I realize I am no expert in the homeless department, but I've done my research and I know much more about homeless families than I did last Wednesday. I've helped single homeless adults before, but I've never helped homeless families. So I realize that needs to change. And in April, I have an orientation set up to volunteer at a homeless family shelter. There's a wide variety of homelessness, but tonight I'm going to talk about the families. There's two types of homeless families: the shelters that are in Middle Tennessee, and the causes and effects of becoming homeless. When I say the word homeless, y'all probably have an image comes to mind, because I know I do. I just picture a bunch of people huddled around a fire under a bridge with their buggies and tents in the background. But that's not the case. You have sheltered and unsheltered homeless families, and they're exactly what they sound like. Sheltered, the families are safe inside a building at night, and unsheltered is finding alleys, bridges, corners just to lay their heads down. In January 13, U.S. Department of Housing Urban Development did a survey on sheltered and unsheltered families. 86% of homeless families are sheltered. The other 14 aren't so lucky, they're unsheltered. The Housing Urban and Development did another survey, which states had the highest and lowest unsheltered rates. And unfortunately, Tennessee is one of the highest unsheltered states. The next thing I want to tell you about are the shelters. Sure, I could tell you about the shelters across the world, but I want to tell you that Tennessee is making an impact towards homeless families. In Memphis, we have an organization called National Interfaith Hospitality Network. They offer shelters, meals, housing, and job placements. On their website, familypromise.org 2013, their service report stated they helped 53,000 families just in 2013 alone. 75% of those families secured housing. And to put the cherry on top of all of this, the National Interfaith Hospitality Network is also in 41 other states and counting. We also have another one, right, homegrown in Nashville, Tennessee. I was reading about it in the Tennessean, dated 2013. It's called Sophia's Heart. Sophia's Heart is one of two shelters in Middle Tennessee that does not split up the families. The other one is Safe Haven, but I'm not going to touch on that. The shelter doesn't split up the older sons and the fathers, because that's just the right thing to do. Most of them they do, which is ridiculous. Sophia's Heart offers classes, financial management, tutoring, marriage counseling, and career assistance. They're still small and growing, so they only have 11 rooms, and each family can stay in one room up to 7 days. Within those 7 days, they do paperwork to qualify to stay at a shelter longer. And this one is a shelter I'm volunteering at, just saying. So something a little more concerning. I read all the causes and effects on National Coalition for Homeless 2009. It's a little older article, but stuff like this usually doesn't change. It stays persistent. The principal cause for becoming homeless is lack of affordable housing. The second is the job market. Let's face it, today's income sucks. The gallon of milk is almost $4 today, unlike a long time ago, it was like 20 cents. So parents are never home just to make ends meet. They might not ever see their family, just try to work, and that still doesn't cut it, so they'll lose their house. And the other one, lower class families, they can lose their house if an illness occurs in the family because those medical bills can rack up real fast, real high. The effects of becoming homeless, it breaks up a family basically. Each family member becomes physically and mentally ill. On the fact sheet I was saying about the National Coalition for Homeless, they stated that kids are 4 times more likely to have delayed development than other students, other kids. 1/3 of mothers attempt suicide, which is ridiculous. That's too high for us. And the other effect is lack of education. The kids don't get the proper education they need when they're homeless because of transportation issues, lack of supplies, lack of clothing, and even lack of motivation. So all in all, I hope y'all feel much more informed about homeless families because if I went over the 2 types of homeless families, sheltered and unsheltered, the shelters that are in Middle Tennessee, and the causes and effects of becoming homeless. Lastly, I want to leave you with a quote from Karen Nelson. She's the founder of National Interfaith Hospitality Network. I read it on familypromise.org. She said, "If you can strengthen one family, you can strengthen a nation." And I just really believe those. So thank you all for listening.